Hey guys, so first of all, my apologies for not uploading video during the last 3 weeks because actually it has been quite busy with a lot of client meetings and also working a lot in the agency and other projects. But anyway, let's go into the video. As many of you know, I started my agency around 2-3 months ago, and at the beginning it was very hard because it was hard to get meetings and it was even harder to get clients. And the problem that I was having, and that I believe that many of you are having as well, is that at the beginning we only try 1 or 2 client acquisition sources. That is basically cold email and cold LinkedIn outreach. And those are fine and those can actually work with people, but the problem with those is that if we are trying to contact people and those persons are not aware that they have a problem, it's going to be super complicated to convert them into a customer, because it actually doesn't matter the solution that we have, and even if it is the best on the market, they are not going to find the value because simply they are not aware that they have a problem. But anyway, in this video I'm going to show you all the different ways that you have to get customers that you can start from now completely for free. And stay until the end, because at the end of the video I would like to ask you some questions about the content on the channel and I would like to know your opinion. So let's go into the video. Okay, so the first thing that was actually hard for me to understand is that there is 2 different ways of getting customers. The first one is the one that I mentioned before that I was trying at the beginning, that is basically approaching customers, and then the second one is attracting customers, so you let them to contact you, okay? Basically this was what I was doing at the beginning, like everyone else I believe. And basically we have cold email, cold calling and social media outreach, but the problem with this is that we need to put so many things into place in order to start working. We need several emails in order to do the mass outreach. Then we also need a strong offer, and then we also need the right messaging, because if we don't have the right messaging, we are not going to resonate with our audience. So it's going to be very complicated. And basically the same principles apply for cold email, cold calling and social media outreach. This is basically Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter. But also I have to say that these methods doesn't have only cons, and also they have some pros, okay? Because for example, the conversion is really low, because as I said before, we need to find that person and then we need to convince that person, so it's more complicated. But in the other hand, it's very predictable, because at the end of the day, this is a game of numbers. Like as many emails as we send, as many replies we're going to get, and as many customers as we're going to get. So this is basically a game of numbers, and that's a pro, 100%, because this actually makes it like easier to scale once we have a system in place. And a system in place means that we have the right audience, we have the right messaging, and we have the right offer. And yeah, these are basically the problems with approaching customers. And then, as I said, we also have the way of getting customers by attracting them to us, okay? And here we have 2 main ways. The first one is social media, that is actually the one that I'm using, and then we also have search engines that are basically like text-based content, okay? Google, Medium and Reddit, for example. Let's go first into social media. So once we are into social media, we have like short form content. We also have long form content, but I believe that that's slightly different, and actually that requires way more explanation and that's slightly more complex. But we also have short form content and text and image based content, okay? And then we have Pinterest, that is basically a mix between both of them. Indeed, TikTok and Instagram Reels are the main ones, okay? But the reality here is that TikTok and Instagram Reels are very similar, but are slightly different, because the audience in each one of those platforms is slightly different. So what I saw in my experience in TikTok and Instagram Reels is that the content looks more natural and is less edited, and basically is more from me to the person that is in the other side, with less edits and things that are not 100% needed. Were actually better in TikTok. In the other hand, in Reels, maybe we need to edit slightly more the content in order to get a huge performance. Because I saw many accounts that are performing like crazy with hundreds of thousands of subscribers in Instagram Reels, but then they go into TikTok and they only have a few thousand. And actually something like this is happening to me, because in TikTok, I mean, I don't have a lot of followers, but I have around 500 followers. But in the other hand, in Instagram Reels, I only have like 60, 65 approximately. And the day of today, maybe in 1 year, I have like hundreds of thousands, who knows? But this is the main difference that I've seen, okay? Like the TikTok content is slightly more natural and the Instagram Reels is like slightly more elaborated. But both of them, like the most important things, as you know, is like the hook and the value that you actually provide in the video. And then all of these videos have huge potential of virality, and it means that if you have one video that is performing very good, you're going to get a lot of followers, a lot of leads, a lot of meetings, and potentially a lot of clients as well. But the problem that I see with TikTok, Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts is that a bit unstable. And it means that in order to make it stable and in order to make it predictable, you need to pull crazy amount of content, and like that's not easy unless you are Alex Hormozzi or Iman Gatsi of one of these guys. So basically you are going to be fluctuating in periods that you are going to have a lot of views, a lot of leads, and a lot of meetings, and then there is going to be some other periods that you are not going to have as many, and that can be a problem because if we are not ready to get like 5, 10, 15 customers at one time and then we cannot attend them, it actually doesn't matter that we have a super viral video because we are not going to be able to attend the demand. So these are the cons of the short form content, okay? And then we have the text and image based content that basically is Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram post in this case, okay? The reels are slightly different. And this content, as well as the short form content, actually have a lot of conversion because the people already know you, so they already know what they actually want. And it's also more predictable, but in the other hand, it has less potential of virality. Okay, so now let's go with search engines, or at least the ones that are text-based, because as you know, there is also search engines in TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, etc. Okay, but we're going to focus on the ones that are text-based, that in this case are Google/Bing, because that's basically the same, and then Medium and Reddit. And what we can do in Google and Bing is basically to create content that is going to be educational content most of the time, so informative content. And then from that informative content, we're going to bring the people into our funnel, and then we're trying to convert them into customers, okay? I'm going to show some examples about articles that are actually bringing traffic to some other websites, because in my website, I'm not using SEO yet. But basically, it's a way of bringing people to your funnel and then try to convert them into customers because they trust you, or because of email sequences, or because whatever, okay? Then we have Medium, and actually Medium is very similar to how a website works. The only difference is that Medium is a platform where it's specifically to create articles, and actually there is people talking about all kinds of stuff, like business related content, educational related content, or people just writing about random stuff like receipts or whatever. And then we also have Reddit, okay? Like this doesn't have high virality potential, but in the other hand, it also converts very, very well, same as all the social media content that we have here, because the people that comes here and these people that actually knows us already, so they are going to convert better. And it's also super predictable because it's actually complicated to start gaining traffic in Google and Bing, and unless you stop for months to put content and to put new relevant content in your website, it's very hard that you are not going to at least maintain the current traffic that you have and the current inflow of leads, okay? So yeah, these are basically the ways of attracting customers, and now we're going to go with 2 extra ways that actually are going to be super, super useful as well, and I believe that are completely untapped. And now let's go into the first bonus, okay? So I believe that when trying to acquire customers, some platforms that are very, very untapped are basically these 3: Upwork, Freelancer, and platforms, job marketplace like ManyChat or VoiceFlow. And the thing here is that in those platforms, me myself included, because as I believe that I also have an e-commerce business, and in Upwork, I believe that I spend more than 50k basically on hiring people for my business. And for me, Upwork is like one of the most untapped platforms in order to get customers. And it may be a bit complicated at the beginning because you don't have experience, you don't have reviews, you don't have that kind of stuff. But once you get some traction and your profile is active and you have good reviews and everything is fine, the potential customers are going to approach you, because there is always persons trying to find talent and trying to find the best freelancer and the best person possible for a specific position. And then we also have Freelancer, that even though I never used it, but I believe that it's pretty much the same. And then there is also platforms, job marketplaces, like for example, ManyChat has a marketplace where you can sign up and list your agency and list you as a freelancer or as a professional, and the same happens with VoiceFlow. And the problem of all of this is that depending on the platform, there is like a lot of competence and it can be hard at the beginning. And then the conversion is not very good, especially at the beginning, because your profile is not going to be super optimized. And like this is like social media. If you have 10 followers, it's going to be more hard to convert customers than if you have 20,000, because basically you don't have that social proof, okay? And it's also more or less predictable because you are going to have a constant inflow of persons that are going to be willing to work with you. And if there is not persons that are willing to work with you, you can also apply to jobs. So if there is no offer, you can offer yourself more. So I believe that this way, like freelancing platforms are really, really untapped. The bad thing here is that it's hard to scale. because in Upwork, Freelancer, and other platforms like ManyChat, VoiceFlow, like their marketplaces, the people that is there and the people that is actually publishing jobs there is very, very limited. This is not like social media or Google, because in social media, Google, basically it's everyone in the world. So maybe it's not as scalable, but it's also a way of getting customers that can really help you, especially at the beginning. And actually, I know persons that are making hundreds of thousands a year by just working on Upwork. And now let's go with the last bonus. And the last bonus basically is networking. And seems easy to say and seems obvious, but indeed in the Discord communities, in the Slack communities, and other communities like LinkedIn or Reddit, you can actually network with a lot of people. In Discord, for example, there is many servers that actually have a job posting channel where people can actually post jobs and you can apply and you can be hired from there. Then same happens in Slack. Like I know a couple of communities, for example, the Airtable community and then another communities of guys that I follow, but actually they are not guys in the automation space, that basically offer jobs in the Slack communities. And then same happens in LinkedIn, but in LinkedIn it's slightly different because if you are going to publish content, people is going to talk to you, and then whenever someone asks to that person for an expert on no-code automation or an expert in artificial intelligence, you are going to be in the top of mind of those persons. So in these cases, like the competency is not very, very high. Maybe in the Discord communities, maybe the competency is slightly higher, but the conversion is super, super high as well, because if you are the person that is in the top of mind here, especially in LinkedIn, and then you are just on the right place at the right time in Slack and Discord communities, you are going to convert like crazy. In the other hand is that it is not predictable at all, because basically you are relying on other people talk about you or jobs that are going to be posted in Slack communities and Discord communities, and unless you have a huge network of thousands of people, it's going to be slightly more complicated. So yeah guys, as you see, there is tons of different ways of getting customers, and at the end of the day it's just matter of putting the time on one specific channel or maybe several channels and then start seeing results. And now guys, I would like you to let me know what are you thinking about this type of content, because I'm gonna tell you my thoughts about the type of content that I've been posting so far. You know, I've been posting this content that are basically tutorials and how-to guides and some specific use cases, but actually I'm thinking about changing slightly the content that I am uploading to YouTube, because in reality it's very hard to me to follow a good pace of pasting content at least twice a week when I have to be constantly thinking about new long-form videos, to be recording all those long-form videos and then to be posting all those long-form videos. So what I have in mind here guys is to start posting more content about the strategies that I use to create content, get customer, maybe some potential frameworks, and basically how I am developing my business, including all the things that are in the background, like some lead automations or maybe the CRM that I'm using and maybe that kind of stuff that I believe that is going to be pretty useful for you, but I'm not pulling it yet because I actually don't know what is going to be the result. And as I said, like the content that I've been recording so far, like the tutorials, like voice flow, make some comparisons and stuff is cool, but I believe that content is already on YouTube, and maybe I'm not providing so much value as I am providing if I show this kind of stuff where I show more my day-to-day in the business, like all the things and all the operations that are behind the business. So yeah guys, let me know about what you think, and also let me know if you'd like a Discord community, because actually I'm thinking about one. So yeah, just let me know in the comments, and see you in the next one.